main causes of the Salem witch trials was fear of Indian attacks, deadly illness, and failure. Another cause of the Salem witch trials was the betrayal within the town, consisting of church positions, land distribution, and mischievous children, which all goes back to political authority. The neighborly feuds are shown in the Crucible between Thomas Putnam and Francis Nurse, when Nurse blocks Putnam from becoming the town's reverend. Thomas uses the witch trials to get back at Mr. Nurse by accusing Nurse's wife of killing his 7 babies. Putnam also increases his wealth by accusing other people of witchcraft and then buying their land. This increases his success and reduces his chance of failure financially. Another example of betrayal would be the children accusing innocent people to cover up their wrong, just like Abigail Williams. Puritans also needed answers for things they didn't understand, such as illnesses, so they blamed it on the devil, or in this case, witchcraft. In all, this shows how fearful Salem was during the Salem witch trials and why they started. Interesting facts about the Crucible. Number 5. One of the turning points in ending public support and enthusiasm for the trials was the conviction and execution of one of the town's former ministers, George Burroughs, who publicly recited the Lord's Prayer at the gallows, which was believed to be impossible for witches to do. Number 4. Dog accusations. In addition to the 20 people convicted and executed for witchcraft, 2 dogs were also accused and executed for the same crime. Number 3. Against Christmas. Despite their obvious Christian commitment, the early American Puritans actually banned Christmas in the Massachusetts Bay Colony in 1659, deeming it a sacrilege. Apparently, they felt that gift-giving took away from one's ability to focus on serious religious thought, and they did not like the pagan origins of some aspects of the holiday. 2. Family matters. Descendants of the Salem community have made constant efforts to clear the names of those ancestors and relatives who were falsely accused and convicted back in the 1690s, with some being officially recognized as innocent by the Massachusetts government in the beginning of the 21st century. If witchcraft wasn't really happening in Salem, what actually caused those girls to have fits? Number 1. What probably happened. Many possible answers have been proposed, but the only likely explanation is that they were suffering from some kind of natural medical afflictions. Another more disturbing theory proposed by researchers like behavioral psychologist Linda Caporell suggests that Salem suffered from ergot poisoning.
Many real-life people were used in the Salem witch trials, including John Proctor and Elizabeth Proctor. 2 of the main ones, Abigail Williams, one of the main accusers, originally accusing Elizabeth Proctor, but eventually accusing John Proctor as well, saying that Elizabeth only assisted in the witchcraft, causing a very corrupt courtroom. As you can clearly see in the room, right here in the courtroom, the corrupt system that Abigail Williams was caused through accusations against Proctor and Elizabeth Proctor, both of them, and everyone that she would accuse in the witch trial. Betty and Abigail were the 2 main accusers of the Salem witch trials, and Abigail was, and they would identify 3 witches in Salem: Sarah Good, Sarah Osborne, and Tituba, the slave of Samuel Parris, the uncle and the father of Betty Parris, where Abigail would live, who Abigail would live with. And Sarah Good and Osborne were the 2 did not confess, but Tituba, the slave, would end up confessing to witchcraft and also ratting out Sarah Good and Sarah Osborne. Another person accused of witchcraft was Martha Corey, the wife of Giles Corey, this man right here, as he was crushed to death after being accused of witchcraft and refused to plead either guilty or not guilty of witchcraft. Would end up making Giles Corey get crushed to death. Others that were executed, John Proctor ended up pleading not guilty and was executed of witchcraft, along with others. His wife Elizabeth, however, was not, as she was pregnant. Her execution was postponed and she got off the hook. They let her go. Unlike John, who was not spared.
The Salem witch trials were brought back to life
in the 20th century when Arthur Miller dramatized the events of 1692 in his play The Crucible, using them as an allegory for the anti-communist witch hunts led by Senator Joseph McCarthy in the 1950s. Minister Cotton Mather warned the judges of dubious value of spectral evidence. His concerns were largely unheeded during the Salem witch trials. Mather later joined his son, urging that the standards of evidence for witchcraft must be equal to those for any crime, concluding that it would be better that 10 suspected witches may escape than one innocent person be condemned. Amid wanting public support for the trials, Governor Phipps dissolved the Court of Oyer and Terminer in October and mandated that its successor disregard spectral evidence. Trials continued dwindling in intensity until early 1693, and by that, May Phipps had pardoned and released all those in prison on witchcraft charges. By that time, 19 were hanged and 5 died in custody. In 1697, the Massachusetts General Court declared a day of fasting for the tragedy of the Salem witch trials. The court later deemed the trials unlawful, and leading Justice Samuel Sewall publicly apologized for his role in the process. This is George Jacobs, an English colonist accused of witchcraft in 1692. Though he was innocent, he was convicted and hung August 19, 1692. This is Samuel Sewall, a judge during the Salem witch trials. He apologized for his actions and doings during the trials in 1697, 4 years after they had ended.